The top cop who put his badge on the line for justice.
You know the name Doug Papa?
Yes, I do. God bless Doug Papa, an honest cop.
He was a man of integrity. His testimony last summer freed an innocent man from jail who had already been convicted of shooting his ex-wife. But Papa's going public cost him his job as an undercover cop.
I was elated, of course, but then as he testified, I was somewhat concerned for him, because I knew that they were probably going to crucify that man.
Sometimes the truth has a price. That may be the lesson of a Virginia police officer who says, in trying to do the right thing, he ended up paying for it.
The message you're sending is, see, we did it, Doug. You don't come out, you don't buck the system. No matter what the reason is, you just can basically keep your mouth shut. But if I wouldn't do it all over again, I would take the badge and I would leave it on somebody's desk and get out of place work. Because the day I can't tell the truth because somebody's pressuring me, and the day the system doesn't want me to tell the truth because somebody's pressuring me, is the day I leave the badge on the desk and walk away.
Papa was fired for insubordination. One man who confronted truth and consequences.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, this is the Truth and Consequences podcast, episode 132 for Sunday, January 1st, 2023. I'm Doug Papa, independent investigative journalist, U.S. Army veteran, former law enforcement officer, criminal investigator, director of security and surveillance, and I spent a short time with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Ladies and gentlemen, on October 20th, in episode 125, I broke the story that Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officer Michael Lyons was arrested in a domestic violence incident with his girlfriend. On November 6th, in episode 126, I reported on updated information concerning Officer Lyons that I had received from police officers. If you are not familiar with those episodes, here are excerpts from episodes 125 and 126. At the conclusion of the video, I will discuss further updated information on Officer Lyons. This is episode 125 for Wednesday, October 20th, 2022. This is some breaking news that came into the hotline, and I want to get it out. I believe it's exclusive. I don't think anybody reported on it yet. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department police officer Michael Patrick Lyons was arrested today, and he's been on the force since 2016. His P number, according to my sources, is 15324. He works out of the Summerlin Area Command in the Las Vegas Valley here. He works plain clothes, and he's assigned as a patrol detective. This is a photo shot. Let me get off the screen here. Hang on one second. Okay. What you're looking at is that is the pay scale from public records. Is from 2021, and like I said, he was hired on in 2016. Let's go to the Clark County Detention Center inmate in custody records that I obtained. That's on the screen here. I'm not going to get me off. It's just too much. But basically what this says is the inmate custody status. It shows his arrest date today, October 20th, 2022. He's got 3 charges according to the Clark County Detention Center: home invasion, kidnapping second degree, and coercion, domestic violence with threat or use of physical force. Now, those are the 3 charges that are up on the screen on the inmate in custody record to CCDC. Now, everything is pre-screened and it goes to the court, and they pre-screen it. Let me get this up on the screen because there's one charge that's missing, and it says as I get updated information on this, I will get it to you. This is the Las Vegas Justice Court record. Doesn't say too much on it. Patrick Lyons, 2 felony charges, kidnapping, 2nd degree, and coercion constituting domestic violence with threat or use of physical force. Now, they don't have the first charge from the detention center, the home invasion. So whether that didn't make it to the court because of probable cause something, I don't know, or there's a mix-up in the record, but I'll update you on an additional podcast when I get more information, a photograph and more information on this. And all it says here is that on October 20th, 2022, the case assignment was sent to the Justice Court. Also on the same day today, the DA requests for prosecution. And it looks like his initial appearance in Justice Court is scheduled for tomorrow, October 21st. It says DNA PC review. I believe that's the DNA probable cause review, and that's in front of Judge, it doesn't say the judge, no judge yet, at 1:30 p.m. And then a status check on filing of criminal complaint. That's in front of Judge Melissa Gauzer, and that's set for November 17th of this year. So let me get back on the screen here. So that's what I have right now coming in. Anything else that they tell me here? As you heard from the charges, I believe it was his ex-girlfriend that made the complaint. Again, this is fluid, so it's coming in with information I'll put out. Right now we're having the podcast, but I have no photograph yet. I'll update you on a future. So Michael P. Lyons, a Las Vegas Metro Police officer, Summerlin Area Command, P number 15324. He's assigned as a patrol detective, like I said, in the Summerlin Area Command. Arrested today. 3 charges were listed in the Clark County Detention Center record, and 2 made it to the Justice Court record, and that's the kidnapping charge and the coercion charge on that. This is domestic violence related. This is episode 126 for Sunday, November 6, 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, October 20th, I published episode 125 and broke the story that LVMPD patrol detective Michael Lyons had been arrested and charged with kidnapping and coercion constituting domestic violence with threat or use of physical force. The next day, October 21st, the LVMPD sent out a press release which confirmed what I had reported, and the local media picked up on the story. Get it up on the screen there. I have recently been informed that Internal Affairs Bureau detectives had found a video on Lyons' cell phone that led to further charges filed against him. According to Las Vegas Justice Court records, which confirmed what I was told, I'll get that up on the screen for you. Court records confirm another domestic violence charge on Lyons and an additional charges of domestic battery by strangulation, indecent or obscene exposure, false imprisonment, destroy the public property of another, and an additional coercion charge in addition to the first one that they had on him. So if what I was told was true, I have no reason to believe it was not. My sources are usually correct. For some reason, this guy decided to photograph with the video on a cell phone camera some things he was doing to the woman that led to these charges. So if that's the case, and I believe it is, not too bright on his part, because now he's got additional charges in addition to the original charge that I talked about in that episode. Okay, folks, now for the updated information, and I have update to the update. On December 5th, the Clark County District Attorney's Office offered Michael Lyons a plea deal. Lyons pleaded nolo contendere on the misdemeanor battery charge. That is a Las Vegas Justice Court record. You can go back and look at it on the screen. For those not familiar with the legal term nolo contendere, plea, also known as no contest, that means the accused person accepts a conviction but does not admit guilt for the crime. The district attorney dismissed the remaining 2 felony charges of domestic violence by strangulation and coercion constituting domestic violence with threat or use of physical force. Also dismissed were the misdemeanor charges of indecent or obscene exposure, false imprisonment, destroy the property of another, and the domestic violence remaining charge. Folks, why Lyons was given this sweetheart deal by the Clark County District Attorney's Office remains unknown to me at this time. Did Michael Lyons get a preferential treatment because he's a police officer, or was the case against him weak when it was submitted to the District Attorney's Office by the investigating detectives? That said, it is not uncommon for prosecutors to stack numerous charges against a defendant, hoping a defendant will take a plea deal in lieu of going to trial. As a condition of his plea deal, Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Melissa De La Garza gave Officer Lyons a suspended jail sentence of 4 months. He had to stay out of trouble, attend domestic violence counseling, community service, and ordered Lyons to have no contact with the victims. The Internal Affairs Bureau, from what I am told, will not start an investigation until criminal charges have been adjudicated. In this case, December 5th, Lyons took the plea deal. Now, you would think, folks, that Michael Lyons, who's still a police officer, would have followed the judge's orders, considering he avoided 2 felony charges and 4 misdemeanor charges when he agreed to the plea deal of the misdemeanor battery charge and received the 4-month suspended jail sentence. However, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Lyons decided to take another path. According to police sources, on Wednesday, December 21st, Lyons was allegedly intoxicated on the Las Vegas Strip and came upon the victim that he was ordered to stay away from. I was told that Lyons confronted the victim, who was with another male, which resulted in Lyons getting popped in the face by the male, hit in the face. Lyons fled the scene before the arrival of police. According to Las Vegas Justice Court records, on December 21st, the District Attorney's Office submitted a motion to remand and impose the suspended jail sentence on Michael Lyons. Police Officer Michael Lyons appeared in court on Thursday, December 22nd. I was told he had a black eye when he appeared in court. Court records indicate that Judge Melissa De La Garza granted the state's motion and imposed the jail sentence on Lyons, noting that the defendant is a police officer and should be put into protective custody. I obtained the Clark County Detention Center inmate in custody record. Get it up on the screen here for you. Okay. My watermark's on there. Let me go back to the beginning on that. I obtained the Clark County Detention Center inmate in custody record for Michael Lyons, which confirms his incarceration date of December 22nd, 2022, with the release date of March 22nd, 2023. Now, folks, the detention center record is no longer available online, and there is no record of Michael Lyons being incarcerated in jail in an online search. The reason for that, folks, is that inmate records who are under protective custody will not be displayed during an online inmate search. So the record that's on the screen right now, if you go online, that's gone, and you never see him as being incarcerated in the Clark County Detention Center. That said, police officers have confirmed to me that Lyons is indeed in protective custody status at the jail and will remain as such until his release scheduled for March 22nd. And I guess there's a floor up in the Clark County Detention Center that's just for inmates that are in protective custody, so nobody can get to them. Now that the holidays are over, folks, the Internal Affairs Bureau hopefully should complete their investigation that will result in the termination of Michael Lyons from the police force. But then again, you never know with the LVMPD. Remember the story of Las Vegas Metro Police Officer Michael's a convicted criminal on a misdemeanor charge, but he remains on the police force. Folks, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel of Truth and Consequences with Doug Papa. Support my independent investigative journalism, if you can, at paypal.me/Doug Papa. Audio podcast versions available on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Folks, before I close out this episode, on December 11th, I broke the story in episode 131 that according to police sources, Las Vegas Metro police officers were ordered to stand down by their sergeant and wait for SWAT as they heard the screams of a woman who was being stabbed to death in her southeast Las Vegas apartment on September 14th, 2022. Since I published that episode, I have received further information from police officers on that incident, including what they're telling me is that confirmation that the communications center audio recordings of that incident will confirm that police officers were on the radio saying they heard the woman screaming, and the sergeant, Danny Cordero, telling them on the radio to stand down and wait for the arrival of SWAT. So, according to my police sources, that radio traffic did occur, and as you remember in that podcast, I asked for the immediate release of those audio recordings and the body camera video also of the police officers who were stacked at that door. And I'll have more on that because there's a lot of people going to be requesting that information through news sources. So I have updates on this thing, but I'm not going to get into it right now. Much more coming, folks, in future episodes. It's the start of a new year. I have a lot of stuff I haven't reported on concerning things that happened last year, including some information I got on another event that reportedly right now is somewhat of a cover-up, and I'm waiting to get more information on it. Thanks for listening and watching my podcast, and hope you all had a happy New Year. But we'll see what this this new year brings. But I don't have a lot of hope for what's going on in this country. There's too much BS going on, and nobody's getting along in politics on either side. And some of the politicians we have in office, both Republicans and Democrats, in my opinion, are a freaking disgrace. So much more coming out, and I'll see you on the next episode. You all have a good evening.
This lawman sacrificed his badge for justice.
The gripping story of Deputy Sheriff Doug Papa. He was a top cop who did the right thing and paid dearly for it. Papa knew a secret that could free a man wrongfully imprisoned for shooting his ex-wife. But when Papa stepped forward, he was cut down by his own police department.
All this stuff's going in my head. Should I call up to the defense attorney? Okay? And I knew if I did that, holy hell would break loose.
Deputy Sheriff Doug Papa used to be one of the top cops in rural Loudoun County, Virginia. Deputy Papa feels he's been busted himself. He lost his job as a narcotics investigator, he says, when he told an ugly truth about a 4-year-old crime. The truth about how his own department and the local prosecutor allegedly ignored key evidence and may have sent an innocent man to jail.
I testified, and everything changes.
What Deputy Papa testified about was an attempted murder in 1987.
They deliberately withheld evidence that should have been given to my defense attorneys.
Bill Birch is the prosecutor Deputy Papa accused of ignoring the evidence.
He says, I told the prosecutor, I told Mr. Birch that this woman said, I'm going to shoot myself if need be, and I'm going to make it look like my husband did it just to ruin his life. Did he say that to you?
No, he did not.
But this November, the court believed Doug Papa.
Oh my goodness, is this the reception committee?
And on Valentine's Day, William Carter was released on a $50,000 bond and given a new trial.
This man usually puts people on trial in this courthouse, but in a rare turn of events, the Loudoun County Commonwealth Attorney was called to the witness stand. William Birch was asked to respond to allegations that he pressured a witness to lie in earlier court proceedings.
No, sir.
A woman who lived at the Carter mansion the night Carol Vandergrift Carter was shot 5 years ago testified that the prosecutor coached her to withhold testimony about the gun involved.
I certainly did tell him about that it was a .38.
I don't recall her saying anything about the gun, the .38 caliber, anything like that.
He's lying to cover his tracks on the last trial.
The high price one cop is paying for telling the truth.
After serving more than 4 years behind bars, Carter was on the edge of his seat when the verdict was read today.
We, the jury, on Peaches joint, find the defendant, William Douglas Carter, not guilty.
After he audibly thanked the jury, Douglas Carter could not contain himself. The tears flowed.
When I came out and testified in November of 1991 at the habeas corpus hearing, and again in January, I was suspended for 10 days without pay, and I ended up being fired after 12 years in this department.